So what if I told you that before Cristiano Ronaldo, Carlos Tevez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, before Paul Pogba, before any of the outlandish and arrogant modern superstar footballers, I'm looking at you, Mario Balotelli, there was a man who paved the way for all of them? That man was Eric Cantona. Cantona is widely considered to be one of the Premier League's most influential figures ever and was even voted as Manchester United's greatest player ever by their fans. Today, he may be remembered for his infamous Kung Fu kick incident at Crystal Palace, but don't get it twisted. Eric Cantona was a force of frickin' nature. Strong and skillful, Cantona didn't so much as play soccer as he did grace the pitch with his presence. Every move or cut he did seemed effortless, as if he had done it a million times before. All of it reflective of his cool demeanor and personality. He was truly one of a kind, a unicorn you might say. The Premier League had never seen anything like him before. Equal parts temperamental and brilliant, Cantona won a total of 7 league titles, along with 3 domestic cups across 4 different clubs between France and England. But he will most fondly be remembered for the time he spent at Old Trafford. After winning the First Division title in 1992 with Leeds, Cantona switched to bitter rivals Manchester United, where he would go on to become an absolute legend of the game. Cantona inspired an entire generation of fans and players, and in part, helped shape the modern football landscape we have today. There's a reason Old Trafford sings about King Eric to this day. Here's everything you need to know about Eric Cantona. So what if I told you that without Eric Cantona, the Manchester United that we know today would not exist? You've heard them, the Manchester United fanboys all over the internet. Manchester United's the greatest club in the world. We're the most historic, best, most reddest team ever. We are the footballing gods' gifts to the world. Yeah, I'm one of those. Before Eric Cantona, Manchester United had not won a league title in 26 years. They were nowhere close to the financial and sporting behemoth that they are today. Liverpool had just come out of a 2-decade-long era of dominance in the English game, where they won 11 league titles and ended up adding 4 European Cups to that total. Manchester United were almost seen as a team from the past, and had been struggling in their first few seasons under Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex had started to make some headway by the time Eric Cantona joined, having won an FA Cup and a European Cup Winners' Cup, but they had still not won that coveted First Division title, and Eric was to be the real catalyst that got the ball rolling for everything that was to come for both Sir Alex and Manchester United. But before we get to that, let's rewind a little bit. Wait till Eric Cantona started his career in France with Auxerre before moving to the club that he supported as a kid, Marseille. Eric was born and raised in the city of Marseille and supported the club from a very early age. Eric unfortunately struggled at Marseille and bounced around between Bordeaux and Montpellier on loan. At Montpellier, he was involved in a fight with a teammate where he threw his cleats in this teammate's face. This fight led to 6 of his teammates demanding that Eric be removed from the team, but support from his teammates Laurent Blanc and Carlos Valderrama, the club did not fire him and they retained him, although he did get banned for 10 days from the club. This wasn't Eric's first run-in with trouble during his career, and it wouldn't be his last. Kids, that's what's called foreshadowing. While at Auxerre, he punched a teammate in the face and got banned for 3 months for Kung Fu kicking an opponent. Man, what is up with Eric Cantona and Kung Fu? Did he grow up watching too many Bruce Lee movies? Anyway, Cantona was also banned for an entire year from international football for insulting his own national team coach and calling him a bag of shit live on television in a post-match interview. Like, I'm sorry, it takes some seriously big balls to call your boss a bag of shit on live international television. Cantona must constantly have to wear some pretty big pants to carry those in. But back to football. Cantona was instrumental as Montpellier would go on to win the French Cup, and his form persuaded Marseille to take him back. At Marseille, the problems persisted, but Cantona was able to help Marseille to a First Division title in 1991. After winning the First Division title with Marseille, Eric moved to Nîmes, where he wasn't really able to keep his cool for very long. During a match, Eric snapped and threw a ball directly at a ref's face because he reportedly didn't agree with how the ref was calling the game. Eric was banned for a month and was called before a disciplinary committee. At the hearing, Eric Cantona responded by going up to each individual member of this committee, looking them directly in their eye, shaking their hand, and saying, "You are an idiot." Of course, this hearing did not go well. His ban was increased to 2 months, and Eric, fed up with all of this, announced his retirement from professional football. Just kidding. Eric Cantona's retirement was short-lived, as Michel Platini, the French manager at the time, was a huge fan of his and urged him to come out of retirement, but not to return to France, instead persuading him to give England a chance. While in England, Cantona tried out for several different teams, and Liverpool turned down the chance to sign the young Frenchman, as they already had too many strikers. Well, sucks to be you, loser. Liverpool would later go on to regret this decision, as Cantona joined a pretty good Leeds United team and ended up leading them to the title that year. Despite only playing half a season and only scoring 3 goals, Cantona was instrumental in guaranteeing that Leeds would finish that season as champions of England, with his overall play and the assists he provided. After a short spell with Leeds, Cantona would go on to join Manchester United, one of Leeds' biggest rivals at the time. And while Eric Cantona would go on to bring glory to his new team, Leeds United would go on to win a grand total of nothing every single season since then. Sir Alex and Manchester United had reportedly missed out on signing players like Alan Shearer, you know, the greatest goal scorer in the Premier League ever, and really needed some more firepower up front, so they brought in the young Frenchman. Eric walked into a dressing room with some pretty big figures already in it, including Captain Marvel, Brian Robson, and slotted right next to Mark Hughes in attack. In Cantona's first season at Old Trafford, Manchester United only lost twice in the league. Manchester United would go on to win the inaugural Premier League season by a margin of 10 points, winning the top division title for the first time since 1967. And by doing so, Eric Cantona became the first player to win consecutive English league titles with different clubs. He also made it 3 in 3 years, as he had helped Marseille to win the French league the year before joining Leeds. So just how much did Eric Cantona contribute to Manchester United that season? Oh, I don't know, just a measly 15 goals and 16 assists. The king had finally arrived. The following year, United would go on to win a double after beating Chelsea in the FA Cup final. And Eric Cantona was again in superb form, scoring 18 and assisting 12 in the league. Along with the league and the FA Cup, Cantona was also voted the PFA Player of the Year. He would go on to score 25 goals in all competitions, all while wearing Manchester United's iconic number 7 jersey. But the controversy was never far away. In the 1993-94 season, he was sent off against Galatasaray as United crashed out of Europe, as well as getting sent off in consecutive Premier League matches that season. He was banned 5 games as a result. At the start of the 94-95 season, everything seemed to be on track for Manchester United to repeat for a 3rd time their exploits in winning the league. Cantona was scoring plenty. Manchester United had brought in Andy Cole to help score even more goals. However, that January, Eric Cantona was sent off against Crystal Palace for kicking at one of their defenders. As he was walking down the tunnel, a Crystal Palace supporter reportedly ran 11 flights of stairs to yell in Eric Cantona's face, "Fuck off back to France, you French bastard." Oh no. Why did he do that? Why did he have to do that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh no.
Cantona trying to get on his way, had a little kick at Shaw there out of frustration, and the linesman had a very, very good view of it. Now, temperature's rising, and out comes the red card. There's the morning headline. Eric Cantona. 4 times he walked last season. 3 times he walked last season, once more in a pre-season game, and now for the 5th time in his Manchester United career, Eric Cantona is sent off. Oh, what's going on here? Cantona's getting involved with some supporters. Oh, this is outrageous. Norman Davis, the Manchester United kitman, trying to pull him away. It's all got wildly out of hand, and once more, Eric Cantona is the man at the centre of a dramatic controversy.
Some critics called for Cantona to be deported back to France and to never be allowed to play football in England ever again, while others were clamoring for him to be banned from football for life. Manchester United banned Eric Cantona for the rest of the 94-95 season, effectively ending any chance they had at the title that season. The FA would then extend his ban to a total of 8 months, and FIFA confirmed that the suspension was worldwide, meaning that Eric Cantona could not escape by transferring to another club. He was stripped of the French national team captaincy and would never play for France ever again. He was actually even sentenced to 2 weeks in prison, but got off just doing community service. Manchester United lost that year's Premier League to Blackburn Rovers and would finish the season with no silverware at all. The world was shocked. Here was one of football's global superstars attacking a supporter. Like, this was insane. And at a press conference after his appeal, Cantona gathered a bunch of reporters, sat down and calmly said, "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much." the balls on this guy. I don't get it. He kicks a supporter and then scolds the media for following him around looking for a story? Dude, you are the story. You literally attacked somebody. That is the story. While this quote was talked about and laughed at, it only helped further solidify Eric Cantona's mythical status. Only he could say something like this and have it have the impact that it did. Later in life, Cantona would admit that attacking that Crystal Palace supporter was a great feeling, and a memory he is happy for fans to treasure, but that it was a mistake. Hey, look, I'm not condoning what he did. All I'm saying is that it was pretty good form. So Cantona was out of the game for a while, and rumors started to swirl that he could be leaving Manchester United for Italy, and even went as far as submitting a formal transfer request to the club. If Sir Alex Ferguson had shipped out Eric Cantona, no one would have even batted an eye. Here was a clearly temperamental player who couldn't keep his emotions in check, and a lot of people were calling for Sir Alex to do just that, but Sir Alex was having none of it. He knew how to handle Cantona, and instead of turning his back to him, he embraced him with open arms and convinced him to stay. He knew Eric needed some special treatment and needed to feel the love. When the whole world was against him, he just needed someone to have his back, and that's what Sir Alex did. And just like that, the king was back. In his first match back against who else but Liverpool, Cantona would go on to score one and assist one. And despite being 10 points behind Newcastle at Christmas, Manchester United would go on to win in the 95-96 Premier League and add the double, later securing the FA Cup against Liverpool with Eric Cantona wearing the captain's armband. What a turnaround! From being world football's most hated villain to lifting a trophy as Manchester United's captain. Cantona became the first player outside of Britain or Ireland to lift the FA Cup trophy as captain. But the king wasn't done, and in 96-97, Cantona would wear the captain's armband full time, and Manchester United retained their league title, meaning that Eric Cantona had won 4 out of 5 league titles with Manchester United and 6 out of 7 with all of his clubs. The only season he didn't win it was the one that he was suspended for. In that 96-97 season, Cantona went on to score the goal of his career. A chipped effort over the Sunderland goalkeeper, about 25 yards out. And what was even better than the goal was the way that he celebrated. Cantona stood still, raised his arms, stuck his chest out, and looked around as if to say, "I am the man." At the end of that season, Eric Cantona announced his retirement from the game once again, but this time it was to be permanent. Eric Cantona would go on to pursue acting and appeared in a few films and also some stage productions before doing some work with beach football as well. During his reign, King Eric transformed the Premier League. He was the catalyst that ignited Manchester United in the mid-90s that would eventually lead to the culmination of the 1999 Trebl winning side. He was one of the main reasons that Manchester United were able to achieve the heights that they did later on, way after he had already retired. His legacy can still be felt to this day, with supporters still singing his name and raising banners for him across Old Trafford. Temperamental, fiery, skillful, sharp, Cantona shaped the game in more ways than one, and since his retirement has been recognized by many people and outlets for his contributions to the game. He was one of the first people inducted into the English Football Hall of Fame in 2002, and Pelé named him one of the 100 greatest living footballers on the planet. Long live the king. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about Eric Cantona. Did I miss something? Was there something I should have mentioned? What did you think about this episode? Let us know in the comments below. I know it's a brand new series. I'm really trying to showcase legends of the game to people who may not have been able to experience them by adding our own little flair to it. So let me know how I did. Let me know who I should cover next, and leave your suggestions down below. Hey, do you like the MLS? Well, check out our weekly recap series right here. Do you like to be up to date on all things going on in the footballing world? If so, we'll check out our podcast, Culture FC, right here, and we'll catch you later.